Hello there gang, welcome back to an episode of Central Park Rangers. In this episode, a little bit different to the other ones. This is more of a summary episode, so we can go through some of the things that you may well have seen or wonder about during the off-season. Now, I've not yet made any transfers, and I really want to talk through not just this division, but other divisions as well. I think people seem to be curious about what's going on elsewhere, so I thought we'd talk through a few bits and bobs from that, as well as talk about the potential takeover. That's right, a takeover that's happening. But first things first then, let's assess this last season, what we did right, what we did wrong. Now, in terms of goal scoring, we were very much reliant upon one man. Ayman Zaid was an absolute tank up front for us. 32 goals, 8 assists, and actually, to be fair to the other players, central midfielder wide matured, and Berment got lots of goals between them, 17 between the two. If they do that again next season, we could be laughing. Shutov had a decent season as well, 13 for him, 8 assists, and Sigma's on the other side, worth noting as well, 10 assists for him, the most in the side. Actually, no, sorry, not the most in the side, but Cole McTurk with 13, my mistake. Cole McTurk 13 assists, but yeah, 10 and 6 for Sigma's, who did very, very well too, and John Thompson, not to be missed out there. 4 goals and 5 assists from left back is quite impressive. Hopefully we can keep a hold of him. Quite a few teams are interested in him going into next season, but he's our captain, our leader, and I'm desperate for him to be here again next season. We arguably missed him last episode, viewers. If you missed that, then oh, well, I don't even mind if you watch it. It was heartbreaking. So you can see then, based on the league table, 4th position is where we ended, which gives us a really good springboard, hopefully, for next season, and hopefully a potential to go up as well. But something I want to show you as well, because I think this is important to give you some more context about where we sit in the league. If you go to the team detailed screen and take ourselves down to the salary per annual, you can see there then, we are 13th on that list. By no means are we one of the big dogs in this division. We're equally not one of the smaller teams, and you notice there some of the smaller teams that were put in this division have gone down and struggled badly. I can now see where they've gone down. Oh, heavens above. Poor guys. Poor guys. But this is sort of the bottom tier that is sort of playable within the database. So yeah, you can see there, 13th on that list, and to finish in 4th position is a real achievement. Las Vegas massively underperforms, considering they finished 7th in the division. Quite poor. Can we get Freddie Adu? You'll have to find out tomorrow when I make some transfers. I've not done them yet, so hopefully we can. I don't know if we'll be able to. But that, of course, all depends on whether we get this board takeover through and happening. So far, it's in the process of a board takeover. Whether it happens or not, I'm still yet to find out. I thought we'd go through a few bits, though, to see if we do get it. We'll continue a few days just to refresh ourselves. We also get to do an end-of-season team meeting, which I think we will do. Now, this is interesting, because we got into the playoffs last year. I think we should definitely aim for that again. So that's what I'm going to say to the boys, and they loved that. Okay, relief has come over me there. And pre-season as well, we'll make that last 4 weeks rather than 5. We don't need them back too early, I don't think. And let's take a little look then at some of the other divisions. Again, I know people are interested. So in the division above us, let's find out first of all then who has come down and who has gone up. If we bring up the league table here then. Orange County have got promoted with Charlotte, Penn FC as well. And then some teams that have come down. Rochester. Oh dear, I feel like this is like when American people say Norwich. I've messed this up now, haven't I? Rochester, I will say that instead, because that's how it is in my brain. Could be Rochester. Could be any of those. Cavalry FC have come down, as of Pacific FC as well. I think they're a Canadian side. Wow, they didn't win last season. Oh, boys. Oh, no. 6 points. 6 points. It's a good job we're balancing some things out. 6 points. Oh dear. Okay, well that's a problem for them. Championship-wise, again, I have to go to this every time, which is a little bit annoying. Nashville got promoted. Phoenix have gone up as well. Edmonton from Canada, they've come down as well as a few others. But actually, that division there looks quite evenly spaced out, which is nice. That's what I want to see from some of these higher divisions. The Ascenso tier, San Jose Earthquakes, they've gone up as well. Remember, they had Darren Huckabee at one point, I believe, for those that are wondering. And the Cosmos got relegated. Well, 27 points for them. But again, quite competitive. The higher up we go in these divisions, the more competitive we get, because the teams are just better overall, so they can be a little bit more competitive against other sides. Chicago Fire also in this division, they came 11th, so it sort of justifies the fact that they're not higher up in the system. If we go to the second tier, the North American Premiership, before we get to the Superliga, Portland have gone up. Lots of people want to see Portland in the top division. They'll be there now anyway. DC United have been relegated. Columbus and Real Salt Lake have gone down instead of Montreal Impact. Those two in the playoffs went down. You can see a lot of the other teams that you're familiar with. LAFC have not gone up, despite with the 2 top goal scorers, Carlos Vela and the Ramirez. They have not gone up, which is curious. I thought they would be one of the best sides in that division, but no, they've struggled this year for whatever reason. You thought they'd have done better. And the playoff final hasn't happened quite yet. They're not having it yet. There's a playoffs system to decide the league title winners between the top 6. And if you didn't know that, you do now. You see Toronto, Canadian side Toronto, they've done very, very well. New York Red Bulls have been relegated. Bradley Wright Phillips' New York Red Bulls have come come down. Wow, they have struggled against some of the Mexican opposition. You can see quite a lot of the Mexican sides early on especially tend to dominate. They've got some really good players in there. I'm sure the American sides will feature heavily in the future and fight back a little bit. But yeah, you can see there then, the top six very much dominated by the Mexican sides. 2 US teams in there, as I say, as well. It's very close when you look at it, actually. 46 there. Wow, it really went down to it. And actually, when you look at it there, you can see the difference between 16th, the side that were relegated. It was only 14 points between them and Cruz Azul, who got into the playoffs. So a very tightly contested Superliga. Again, I suspect that will spread out a little bit as we go through deeper and deeper into the save. But curious, Marouane Fellaini got himself the most yellow cards, 18 for Inter Miami FC, of course, David Beckham's side, for those that are unfamiliar. So let's take a little look then at things that are going on. Central Park Rangers end of season awards. No surprises, but it was very close. Ayman Zaid got himself Fans Player of the Year. John Thompson just behind. Brian Bement there as well. That's our team of the year. A team that really featured quite heavily for us. Brian apparently was our best signing. I'll probably go along with that. Hopefully we'll have him again next season. Is he running out of contract? I think he may well be. Oh dear, okay, well maybe we have to work on that, make sure we get him tied down. And Jonathan Carosio, who was a struggle to say, developed quite well last year, hopefully continues to do so in some of the key areas. Tackling, passing needs to improve a little bit, physicals as well. Still 17 though, so plenty of time for that to happen, and a good addition to the side this year. Pleased with that. Right then, Olivia Evans is my personal assistant. Quite like that, Olivia. Nice to see you. Right then, in which case, let's go over a few other things then and continue forward. I kind of want to see if this takeover will happen. Oh, people want to see finances. Again, because of the salary cap, there's a £58,000 a week salary cap in the division, which does, the board are upgrading things. Now, this is what... Perfect. Wow, this couldn't have been better timed. The board are going to upgrade the facilities, which is fantastic. $2.7 million is how much it's going to cost me. You can see there, $5.8 million. You might think for a sixth tier side, Ben, that's ridiculous. But because of these salary cap implications, it just means all the teams stay afloat. They don't suffer massive financial difficulty. They all are sort of a balanced side, and it'll improve the sport in America massively. Every single side, in theory, should be able to improve their facilities because of the investment. And we should see a really good academy of youth American players come through. Same goes to Mexico, same goes to Canada. We should see all those nations rise up the rankings in 10, 15, 20 years, which hopefully by the end of this series will be really exciting to see if that's what happens. I'm hoping that is what happens. So you can see there, we've got lots of money in the bank. We've got a high transfer budget of which we will spend what we can. To give you an idea, you might think, oh well, now because you've got that much money, surely you can just go and buy all the best players. Currently no players are interested. I think that's because of what season we're maybe in, or like the period of the season that we're in. But generally speaking, viewers, there's not a massive amount of players that really want to join, as you'll see when we bring it. You'll see when we make the additions next season, similar to this year, because our reputation is still so low. If I show you this on the, you can see there then, the 1-star regional reputation based on just basically a New York reputation, still so professional. That limits massively who I can sign, and a lot of the teams in this division have a similar problem. So don't worry about us suddenly signing players for £1 million. That just won't be happening. And basically, we won't be able to afford them on the wage cap either. The salary cap for this division is, if I show you here within the rules, is 70. Is that 75,000? It's gone up. Well, they've raised the salary cap. Okay, so the salary caps are flexible. I think they've raised them for all of them. So it should mean the division gets slightly stronger next year, purely based on that. So £75,000 per week is the new salary cap. We are not even close to that. I think you might have seen it on this screen. Is it available to us? No, you can't see it there, sadly. Is it on that one instead? Basically, we're spending around £10,000 is the gist of what I'm saying here. So there's lots of room for us to manoeuvre if we can attract the players, and again, that is really the problem. Right, I want to see if there's any more to do with this. Hello? They're trying to sign my players? He's not that good. He can go if he wants. I really want to see what happens with this takeover. I think it's a company based in LA. We've been hit with a tax bill as well. 4.2 million. Okay, they've turned us professional. With a place in the USL League 2 assured, it has been officially confirmed that the club will go full-time with immediate effect. I wonder if everyone else will have done the same thing. That is big news. I suspect, though, that other sides in the division have had a similar thing happen. I would be very surprised if we're the only side. So, for example, Vegas, already professional. Actually, if we go through a few of these sides, a few are still semi-professional. I guess it's to do with our finish, maybe. You see there, a few more professional. Real Zamora, who we played a few times last season. Reno, who got promoted. Richmond Kickers. Okay, so actually there's a nice mix of some semi-pro, some professional, much like last season. Well, that might improve our chances somewhat. And it'll be interesting now then, as well, to see what occurs when it comes to our new our new ownership if it goes through. I can't actually make any transfer. That's why there's no one on the list. I can't make transfers because we've got a takeover in the process. It's all making sense now. It's happened. Okay, this episode has gone perfectly. All the news is coming to me just as I'd like it to. I would like to notify you that a recent board decision, which you'll be pleased to hear, our scouting network has been upgraded as well, so we can now scout more within North America, which I assume is to do with going professional. Here we are then, a consortium led by North Las Vegas-based investor Ryan Reese has successfully completed a takeover of Central Park Rangers, replacing former chairman Chris Locklear, who I think we can all agree we enjoyed the spell that he was here. Reese revealed that he was delighted by the deal and indicated he wants to make a difference for the fans at the Great Lawn. Lovely stuff. He's bought a plot of land in Central Park Rangers. That will have costed him, I'm sure. You can see here then, he's pumped money into the coffers. 3.5 million. We could do nothing with that, Ryan. You should have researched that before coming along. But you can see then the board lift the embargo. And it now means then we can attract players, I assume. Yes, it does. But the value of which, the highest value, this is the thing. Andres Iniesta is one of those players. That's a different Andres Iniesta. It's not even Iniesta, it's Iniestra. It's the rip-off Iniesta, viewers. And I was conned by it. I can't believe this has just happened. You can see then, player-wise, there's not a massive amount of huge talent that we can necessarily bring in, which is fair enough. A few of these guys from Pumas Premier, who I think are in some sort of mid-American division. Yeah. Okay, well, there's certainly players that we can get. The best, or the most expensive at least, is this guy. He's very good. If we can sign him, then things will look up quite quickly. A few of the other ones here, striker-wise, he's quite well-rounded, actually, you've got to say. So there might be a few players we could bring in. Of course, I don't know if they're going to count, because they're down as Mexican. I'm not sure. I think they count as sort of homegrown in that sense. But, of course, players outside of Canada, Mexico, and America, you can only have a few of them every season, I think. So, looks like we could be having a successful season next year. Hopefully we can get ourselves promoted. I wanted to try and get out of this division as quick as possible. I thought it would take us a couple of years. I didn't think it'd be in our first season. To come so close there was a bit of a disappointment. But interesting, it looks now we're setting ourselves up nicely for the future. We've got a transfer budget of 13 million, which is ridiculous, but again, because of the salary caps and everything, makes little difference. We can't sign players of better quality anyway. And there we are then. The database is already available now to a certain select few of Patreons. It'll be available to all the Patrons before Christmas, but I think by the end of next weekend. And then for everyone else, it'll be out on the January the 1st. I can confirm January the 1st, the database will be available to everybody. So there we are then. Lovely stuff. If you are enjoying the series, of course, do drop a like on it. Want to see some more? Subscribe to the channel. And next season, I've gone German, should be exciting. And hopefully you join me for it too. We'll have a careful adventures next time. Goodbye. Interesting. If you've got any other questions about the database, questions in the comment section. I will answer them all.